Remind us, we're happy to be joined tonight by Senator John Kennedy. He's a Republican, represents the state of Louisiana. Senator, thanks very much for coming on. I don't remember, and we did a number of segments on this at the time, I don't remember anybody advocating for this law saying, you know, and then we're going to let some rapists out too. How did this happen?
Well, good intentions sometimes have nothing to do with actual consequences. I voted against this bill. 12 of us did. It got 87 votes, an overwhelming majority, but sometimes the majority just means that all the fools are on the same side. We were told that this would only allow low-level, nonviolent criminals to go free. I didn't believe it, and I didn't believe it because I read the bill. And now we find out that in the first tranche of prisoners let free, 500 committed weapons or explosive crimes, 250 committed sex crimes. I think there were 60 or 70 that were guilty of homicide or aggravated assault. And those are not low-level, nonviolent criminals. I told my colleagues, I said, look, if you want to have a debate in the Senate about the federal criminal code and what the maximum and the minimum ought to be, I'll stay here as long as you want to have that debate. But they didn't do it that way. They turned over all of our power to the administrative state, to the bureaucracy at the Bureau of Prisons, and they can pretty much let loose whomever they want to. The other reason I didn't...
Just to be clear, not only is this not about releasing nonviolent felons, the majority, according to these numbers, are there for crimes of violence. The majority. So it was a complete lie, what they told us.
Yes. And I tried to explain to my colleagues, well, number one, I offered an amendment to require the victims of the crimes to be notified, not to give the victims a veto, but just to let the victims be notified. My colleagues wouldn't accept that. And I objected to giving all of this discretion to the administrative state at the Bureau of Prisons. Look, to me, this is pretty simple. I believe in the Kantian definition of justice. C.S. Lewis talked about it. St. Augustine talked about it. Justice exists when people get what they deserve. Now, justice is not necessarily deterrence or rehabilitation, though that can be a byproduct, but justice is when people get what they deserve. And I don't know why it is, Tucker. If I make it to heaven, I'm going to ask. But there's some people in this world, they're not mixed up, they're not confused, they're not sick. It's not a question that their mama or daddy didn't love them enough. They're just bad. And when they commit criminal acts, justice requires that they be punished. And again, I can't say I'm surprised because I read the bill, but this bill was sold to America as only affecting low-level, nonviolent criminals, and that's just not accurate.
This is a parenthetical point, but I can't resist asking you, the people who back this bill, I would say the majority of them would like to take my guns away, and they say it. And yet this law has allowed hundreds of gun offenders out of prison early. How does that work? They want to take my guns away, but people who are convicted of gun felonies go free.
Look, this thing rolled through the Senate like thunder on a summer night. It wasn't just Democrats. All but 12 Republicans. All but 12 Republicans voted for it. Some of my good friends. And I offered an amendment with Tom Cotton to try to eliminate the Bureau of Prisons from turning loose some of the criminals that I knew were violent. That amendment was defeated. Then I offered an amendment and said, look, at least tell the victims that you're going to turn these guys or gals loose. And if you're going to turn a rapist loose, you ought to at least tell the victim. And that was defeated as well.
It's that is the most telling of all details. Senator, I appreciate your coming on tonight with that. It's infuriating, but it's worth knowing. Thank you.